I am Loki of Asgard.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Loki review. Welcome back, all my Midgardian friends. We are on the Flick and Reel channel, bringing back some of the same faces we had last week to review Marvel / Disney Plus's latest show. And there's been some big reveals today. We knew it was going to be a big episode, and so I can't wait to get into it with my guests. So let's do a little face reveal. We're going to drop that. Hey guys, what's going on? Hotter than balls out here, so hence the sweat and the cold beverage. We have once again the lovely Loki connoisseur, Kelsey Kirkland, back on. How you doing, Kelsey?
Good. Thanks for having me back. I had a lot of fun last time, and I'm excited to talk about this episode because there's some stuff that happened this episode I'm super excited to talk about.
Yeah, it's so nice. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it's so nice to have another zany show that is just speculation galore.
Yes.
Now, I know there's a lot of people that were saying, if I hear the word Mephisto again, I will lose it.
Mephisto.
But it is, I think, you know what I think the Mephisto of this is? I mean, we started out season 1, people were saying Mephisto again, but Kang. I think Kang is the Mephisto of this season of Loki. But we'll see. It might actually pay dividends. We will see. I feel like this is even less of a stretch. But back with us once again to talk about episode 2, titled The Variant, is Mr. Sean Wingblade.
Hey,
Sean?
Hit the air horns. Hit the air horns. What's up? What's happening?
Not too much, man. Just working too many hours and trying to. It's not like this show is very stressful, but it's like trying to get everything done in 15 minutes. It's a lot. We'll bump this on here too, so you can see. Nobody cares about my name on here. There's a funny joke for 2 seconds.
It's up there. It's up there. It's right here.
Oh, crack one open, why don't you? Yeah, I thought that'd be funny. I thought it'd be a funny way to set up the audio. So, welcome everyone. We anticipate to have a really fun show. If you missed last week, you missed a good one. And we do the show a little different than a lot of the shows. We're not doing a play-by-play. We're not going scene by scene. We're just talking about the episode. Full spoilers. Let you know right now. I think we usually started off with just 3 to 5 minutes of our favorite, or just kind of our overall thoughts about. Yes, it does say spoiler review right there. Thank you, Sean. So no lawsuits for us. Yeah. We're not selling false goods. But we give our general thoughts for a couple minutes, and then we just get into talking about the episode. No structure. We might start with the end, work backwards, bounce back and forth, hit a point more than once. Just kind of depends on how the discussion going, and a lot of that is kind of predicated on how the chat goes. I think the chat has a big influence on the structure of the show, and when we start feeling things winding down, then we're going to end it. And that's how we do things here. Low pressure, good conversation. And if you guys like that and you want to see more of it, just like it says spoiler review up there, the other important information is actually on the bottom of the screen. If you have comments or questions, overall thoughts, just want to help support the channel, please click on the Streamlabs link or go to streamlabs.com/flickandreel. The link will also be in the chat there up on top. So anyways, with all that out of the way, worked so hard I didn't have notes prepared. So that's just me just rambling on. But
just
anyways,
wing it.
Guys.
It's my motto in life. Just wing it.
Am I the only one that saw the episode once? Or Sean, did you see
it? I saw it once, but I did see a couple different review shows kind of to essentially solidify my own thoughts and a couple shows that went through it beat by beat anyway. So I kind of remember most of the parts. I might not have a quote for you, but
Oh, it's fine.
I have all the quotes. You're fine.
Yes, that's what I brought.
And written down. I was just talking to Kelsey. I don't know if you're in here yet, but she's like, "Oh, I got all my notes." And I was like, my favorite part about this show is my guests always being more prepared than me. It's just a real blessing. So thank you guys for being here. We got a good friend of the show, Brandon Buckingham, in the chat. What's up? All right, guys. Well, we were pre-warned last week. The bastard Matt Thomas was on here being like, I already saw the second episode, which is why I didn't invite him on the show, because I was like, you know what? We earned this weight. You already saw it. You don't get to talk about it. Actually, I can't guarantee that he's not going to pop on here. He's got the link, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's got the link. He had prior engagements.
Is it? I didn't check the runtime of this episode, but I assume it was really close to the last episode. But even though it was busy, it also seemed longer at the same time, because I felt like so much happened Like when you break down this episode, it's like bam, 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 and just like keeps going. There's so many different things. And the last episode is kind of broken into like 3 parts. It doesn't feel like as much happened.
Yeah.
But
first episode 52 minutes, second episode 55.
Yeah, it really feels like, and this one felt like 15 minutes longer, if I'm being honest. What did you guys think overall, without getting into what happened total? How'd you feel about the episode? Let's start with, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to start with Sean this time.
Perfect, right when my dogs are barking. My kids just got home from karate. So it could be a matter of when I'm watching the show. I hear what you're saying, because there's definitely a few times watching it at midnight when it drops, and you have to, rewind for a second. Dogs are. You're about to. Oh, right, there he goes. You have to rewind for a second. Like, okay, wait, did I hear that right? Was I, nodding off? Whatever. It's the middle of the night.
Thank God there's only 100 after shows covering Loki.
Why don't we jump over to Kelsey for a minute? I'll hop on in a minute.
Okay. All right, Sean.
So let the noise die down.
Kelsey.
Yeah. I absolutely love this episode. My favorite favorite scene in the series so far is still in the first episode, but overall, the second episode, the action got pumped up, the banter got even more funny somehow, if I didn't even think that was possible. And dang, can that guy pull off some brown khaki? That's all I want to say.
I would say in 2 hours, we've gotten so much more development of Loki than in the entirety of the MCU. Granted, it's kind of like, I believe it's Rowena Renslayer. Is that her name?
Renslayer? Yeah.
I know Renslayer's the last name. I think it's Rowena's the first name. Future love interest, or maybe already a love interest of King the Conqueror. We'll see what happens there. But she tells Loki, it's not about you, and this was never your story. And I think finally giving him a Loki show really demonstrates by contrast that it really hasn't been his story. Even though we've gotten to learn things about Loki, we've gotten to see Tom Hiddleston give it his best. This show, we get to see how he reacts to things. Somebody said that it really put in perspective in this episode. We got to see a real reaction to Ragnarok happening, because we didn't really get to let that marinate when we watched Thor Ragnarok. It kind of happened. We're at the end of the movie. Boom, credits. But of course, my fiance would beg to differ. And Lauren was supposed to make it on the show, but we just had some scheduling conflicts. Things were a little all over the place. But there's 2 things on that note that I want to share. One, and I think Kelsey will be perfectly fine with this. Lauren wanted to start an episodic "How hot was Tom Hiddleston" in this episode thing. So we'll just have like a 1 to 10 like spicy peppers, and then we can go from there.
How can it ever be less than 10 though?
I'm going to give it a 9. There was a lot of clothing in this episode.
How many assassin's daggers hot is he on a scale?
How many Tesseracts?
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect rating.
I don't know what the rating is yet. We'll call it 1 to 10, then we'll have to figure out what the increments are of the units of measurement. But I think the first episode, you got nearly nude, so I think that counts as like a 12 off the Richter scale. So,
off
but I also wanted to go ahead.
You're right as far as her name, Ravonna, Ravonna, Ravonna Renslayer.
RAV, what is it?
ONNA.
Okay, so I think I said Rovina, so it's Ravonna.
Ravonna. Yeah.
Somewhere Koi Jandrew is like twitching. He's like, it's not
right. Remember that
it's
for IG in 2 seasons when they bring in all the MCU shows from Disney Plus.
Right when I was getting ready to argue with you. But I wanted to bring up this beautiful picture because unfortunately Lauren went through the effort of doing the eyeshadow. Her Disney horns just came in, which really cool thing. Anybody that's obsessed with Disney knows that Disney has Mickey ears that they release, and they constantly have different themes and stuff. Loki is the first official Disney branded Marvel ears.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Looking good.
Repping our boy Loki there. Sadly, she could not make it. We are hoping that next week makes it, but sometimes it's hard when you got to run through and scoop her up, and it's already 6:15, and you're rushing to get home. But anyways, Lauren says it's how many over 10 each episode.
Agreed.
Any hootaways. So, unfortunately, those damn set photos. Anything that was supposed to be a real surprise, I called from the first scene. It was interesting to hear. The song's not called "I Need a Hero." It's
waiting out for a hero.
Holding out for a hero.
Holding out.
Yeah. Together with our powers combined, we found it.
Yes.
The third time I've heard it in 7 days.
Yes.
First, we had the incredible Masters of the Universe trailer that came out. That was just phenomenal. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy game that's coming out also used. Now it was a lot quieter. It wasn't so much in your face, but they had it in there. And I was like, really? And then when this started, I almost rolled my eyes. And it's not Loki's fault, but I was just like, again? But there could be a lot of like underlying messages with using that song. Now maybe it's a farce. They're playing on the fact that it's like, we don't know if Loki's a hero or an anti-hero or a villain. Or maybe this, like I said, we're spoilers now, full spoilers. Lady Loki / Enchantress / not Cynthia, it's
Sylvie.
Sylvie, thank you.
Sylvie, yeah.
Salvia, something like that. Maybe she's actually more of a hero than we think. We have seen in the trailer, there's imagery, and I remember I was one of the first people to argue against it. Everyone's like, it's Black Widow in the trailer. I was like, she's blonde?
She's a blonde.
She has short hair, and then everyone's like, well, what about Infinity War? I was like, she wasn't on Vormir in Infinity War, so stop it. Anyways, so I didn't know who it was other than I knew it wasn't Natasha.
Yeah.
So now I think it's pretty clear if we look at that image that we've seen kind of banging around the internet that it is her. We just don't know the context of it now. It is very possible that she is trying to unravel the TVA for the the faux pas that it is. I had suspicions right after the animated video in the first episode. I was like, I don't know about the TVA, but I think that's a great starting point. With what we learned more of and what we saw more of in this episode, how are you guys feeling about the TVA right now? Sean, I know you had to mute a little bit, so I'll come back to you.
That's right. I have another guest. Come here. Nope, she's hiding now. Okay, so I have done a good job at avoiding all the set photo leaks, so I didn't know about any of it, and I purposely didn't go searching it out. So I don't. Was it spoilers for this episode? Was it the whole series, or what was
essentially what the photo was? And I told myself I was going to get, because I keep looking up this actress, and I can't get her name to memory.
I can't either.
Every time I see it, I'm like, great. And then I forget it 5 minutes later. Maybe by the end of the season, I'll have it memorized. And it'll be great.
We'll get it.
I heard it a few times earlier on other shows. I can't remember what it was.
The picture actually isn't from this episode, I don't think. But what it is we see a blonde girl in what looks like Loki garb, like in this little picture in the corner that we have of Loki with that little like gold kind of necklace area of the outfit. She's basically wearing that. It's a very reminiscent of Loki outfit. And so everyone that saw those set photos is like, well, thank you, baby.
I think it's so.
I will try to remember.
Is that what you think, Sean? Full marks. You're getting a raise. We might keep you.
Perfect.
But in the set photo, it's clear that's like, okay, well, this is Lady Loki.
Yeah.
So when they start talking about a Loki variant, and a lot of people are like, oh, maybe this is where Richard E. Grant comes in. I'm like,
Okay, so it looks like the same outfit that we saw her in the dark.
Yeah, it's the same outfit. I just don't think it's the same episode because the setting seems different.
Yeah, the setting seemed much different.
So
yeah, I'm looking at it now. Okay,
a lot of us saw this early, and granted, it's not it's a second episode, so it's not like it ruins much. But I still think Richard E. Grant could be a Loki variation. I heard you guys talking about that on Schmo Me the Money.
Yeah.
Anyway, circling back, I was trying to say let's talk about the TVA for a second because the interaction we saw with Mobius and Renslayer has me really suspicious. Something's up.
Same.
Sean, what do you think?
What was the question?
We're talking the time variance authority.
So what is her goal with the TVA?
No. We're just talking about TVA in general. Like, what do we think about the exploration of the TVA in this episode?
I think that Marvel MCU in general has a habit of demonizing the government So what's up, Chuck? I don't think that's going to stop here, and I mean that as they are the man, they are the governing body. You know, the TVA is putting forth all the rules.
I feel like it's partially like villainizing of the government, but it's also partially like a little bit of it's great to be, thinking of like Winter Soldier. It's great to be patriotic and love your country, love what you do, whatever. But it's important to never be blind.
Yeah. For sure.
So they had Cap face what blind patriotism looks like, and I think we're going to come to head, like Mobius's ideals and stuff are going to come to a head, and I think he's going to have his eye open and realize that there's things that he stands for, and there might become, I think we're already getting a sense of like some confrontation, and he's conflicted, and I think there's a lot to be unraveled with Mobius' character.
I think that's what I was kind of going for, is that I think that Loki is going to become the reluctant hero in a sense, and he's going to start siding with the other, like kind of seeing the light as far as why is she trying to destroy the TVA? What are the reasons? Oh, there's nefarious stuff going on. They are doing either, or theories I heard earlier. I heard a bunch of stuff and it made a lot of sense. And I'll call out I was listening to the Geek Buddies, and Michael Vogel. He's great on that show. He does a lot of research. They all do. But they're saying stuff that what if the what are the three called? The court
timekeepers.
The timekeepers, of course. What if they're kind of like the Wizard and the Wizard of Oz, where they think they're all powerful, or they're putting on a show, but they really just have no idea what they're doing. So they're just behind a curtain, and it's all
I think they don't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no one actually there running the show. There's no one there unraveling the timeline. It's just the people in front, putting on like, oh, don't open up that door, or else what? What's going to happen.
It's kind of like what I brought up earlier, is that I think that I'm going to keep using her last name because I keep screwing up her first name and I don't want to look like an idiot. But Renslayer could already be involved with Kang in this whole TVA business, because Kang's somebody that he's a time traveling conqueror. He's been to the beginning of time, the end of time. He's just all over the place. So I think it's very possible that he has created this timeline, or this idea of the sacred timeline, become like a control freak, because there's something specific he needs to happen. And so I think that might have an impact on it. And all the stuff about the timekeepers and stuff could be absolutely fabricated.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. The conversation they had in her office was a big red flag to me, because like she said in like multiple ways of saying it, that if they decide something is worthy of being on the timeline, it's not like the timeline, like this is the one that's supposed to be there. Like, if we want it to be on the timeline, then it'll be on the timeline, not that it's supposed to be. And like, who gives whomever the right to decide what is the ultimate story? And that's a very good point. Like somebody like King or like that has an end goal and is picking and choosing what will get to that end goal. And so maybe Lady Loki, Sylvie, whoever she ends up officially being, is on the side of good. She's like, I don't want anyone telling me what my future is going to be like. I don't want anyone telling anyone what the future is going to be like, because of a big plan. So I'm going to bomb it.
It's very likely that these two Lokis could, and not even in an evil, villainous sense, but they could pair together, because they both, and I think the seeds may have been set in this episode, when Loki looks and sees the destruction of Asgard, and it's like, variants detected, and it was like 0.00 whatever, and he's like, so these timekeepers, these like keepers of the peace and sacred timeline, were like, yeah, sure, that should happen. And it was like 6,000, 7,000 people dead. He's like, those are my people. Like, as much as I might stab people in the back and do this, that, and the other thing, it's like, just because somebody robs a bank doesn't mean they want Earth to blow up, And I feel like that's kind of where Loki is coming from. And so they did nothing to stop that. They don't intervene to stop the tragedies. Thanos snapped away half the universe. It's part of the sacred timeline. So I can see why someone, even a very sensible person, could look at that and be like, this is BS. And then be like, well, what happens if I just bomb the timeline and create all these ruptures, create a multiverse and stuff like that? And it's really clear to see what we're going to call her Lady Loki until we have a better name, what her aim is, because the second she does all that, What does the TVA do? Everybody panics and everybody leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we see in a trailer her fighting some, I think it's maybe TVA agents, and there's like Miss Minutes clock in the background or something like that. So we know that she probably makes it to the TVA and has a much more like dwindled group of people to try to fight. And despite not getting an invitation, it looks like somebody else has popped down here to join us to talk about Loki and talk about the episode he already saw a week ago and rub it in. And that is Mr. Matt Thomas.
Oh, what did I miss?
What did I miss? Yeah. What's up?
Not much, bud. How you doing, guys?
What's up?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Just talking mischief, mayhem, and all that good stuff. With
Mischief,
no particular
more mischief.
structure.
Kelsey, you see why I said you'd love this episode?
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, Matt, I want to ask you this for somebody that watched it back to back, because none of us got to have that same experience. Did this?
You could have if you wanted to. I mean, both episodes are out now. You could have.
You can. Let me get through my point here. Did the second episode feel longer to you,
Not really.
or just more dense at least?
It did feel more dense. I felt like I was getting so the first one felt like a lot of silliness and just setting up how we need to get Loki in place to how he's going to be going forward in this show. Where this one I felt like I was given more so what this show is really going to be.
Yeah.
And when you see the birth of the multiverse, it's just
madness.
yes. Good Doctor Strange reference there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if the fruit could not be hanging any lower than it
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta bring up something, because it's like I think most of us are on the same page as we absolutely love this show. I have an issue. Schmo Joe anti-vaxxer kicking the shit out of Loki, I have a problem with.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a problem.
I don't care because and I was talking to Lauren about this, and she's like, well, maybe it's because like other Loki was possessing him. I was like, then demonstrate that he has super strength, because this just looks like Joe Blow kicking the crap out of Loki, throwing him across the room and stuff. It's not like he like punched a hole in the wall or anything. He really came across as just a guy. And I know that Loki's not Hulk or Thor, but like he's a guy. And the only thing he did with his power is
just
levitate a Roomba.
I'm going to counter you with that, because
no counters. This is my show, Matt.
No, at the end of the day, what you got to factor in is he's technically trying to just make sure whoever this Loki is, or whatever variant this Loki is intact, that he's not harming it in any way. And at that point, he's probably thinking, I don't want to really harm this, because what if it's just a spirit, or you know what, like there's factors that can factor in, that can go into this whole situation of why he wasn't going full out.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time on his back though, or on it, like just laying there. Like, you know what I mean? That was like, it's one thing to pull your punches a little bit, another thing to like just flat out like lay
it's
there.
Not like he was dodging or avoiding him. He was getting laid out constantly. Yeah. And I would have accepted it more if it was, Lady Loki in all her glory fighting him. And so I don't know. In
a way, he was trying to prove like he might have been on the other Loki's side. Like, hey, I'm not going to fight you. I'm trying to talk to you, type of thing. So I kind of get what Matt was saying.
Yeah, here's my argument with it though too, is that the whole entire time our Loki, the Loki we were following, is trying to prove that he is the superior Loki and this one's the lesser Loki, and nothing about that interaction made him prove that in any capacity whatsoever. Yeah. Plus, it says in the like when we're going over the documents and things about him, like in the trailers and ads and things like that, it says he weighs over 500 pounds. So even like a person tossing him across the room, Loki weighs over. It says it like in his description. They do the bio where it says gender fluid. He's supposed to be 6'4", over 500 pounds. Yeah.
Okay.
He's very dense.
I didn't see that.
Asgardians are dense. They're muscles. Talk about it in Infinity War with Thor.
Asgardiantium bones. So I mean that's it. That was like my only thing, because like the majority of the episode I was like, this is great, this is fun, this is perfect, and I'm on board with the majority of the internet. If I don't see Owen Wilson Mobius on a jet ski within a couple episodes,
yes,
I will lose my mind. It's like I've now have like one set goal for the show, and it should be plot based, but really it's just like I want him on a jet ski.
There needs to be
for Mobius.
There needs to be a lull at the end of like episode 4, beginning episode 5, where it's like, all right, where they think everything is fine, back to normal. He's like, all right, we're gonna have a 5-minute vacation. Let's go to the lake. Let's hit up a jet ski.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if they actually get around to fixing the timeline? Like all the branches like go back down to 1. And then
that would
like
honestly that would piss me off. That would piss me off so much.
I wasn't done.
I knew where you were going with it.
And there's just this one red line branching off, and then just flashes to Owen Wilson like
he's causing a branch.
He broke created the multiverse with his jet ski.
Here's my thing. The MCU has been cock teasing us with the freaking multiverse since Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, absolutely.
So and I think that's why they left Endgame so freaking messy. Because Jesse, I've told you I have multiple issues with Endgame. I do not like Endgame for that.
That's
for
fine.
how
I have
messy
multiple issues with your issues, but I mean we're allowed
to. You can't sit here and say Endgame isn't a messy film.
I could say it's not a messy film. I will not say it's a perfect film.
I would disagree with that, but okay. I digress. But the point is, they changed the logic any given time they were able to, and
I want to interrupt this message to say if you guys want to tell Matt why he's wrong, you can donate to streamlabs.com and we will read it out loud. Don't you worry.
Put it all in there. Lay it in.
No. But they changed the logic at any given moment. The thing was they would rather try to confuse the audience and just be like, here's a ton of action. Now forget everything we just told you of the 3 different explanations of how this stuff works. And live with it. Okay, and that's what most of the audience did. I know, and a lot of the actions they did throughout that story should have created a multiverse, because at the end of the day, if the stones have to go back so things happen properly, shouldn't Thanos have to go back, and shouldn't he not get snapped into dust? Just saying that ending is.
So I'm not saying I agree with you that the film is messy. I'm saying that, yes, that all happened. And this show is a prime example of we're seeing one of those storylines play out. Who's to say we're not going to see more of those storylines play out?
I'm not saying it's not possible, because this is what I'm hoping for out of this show. And I'm hoping for it with Multiverse of Madness, and even if they decide to go with the stupid Norman Osborn as the villain in No Way Home, if they decide, fine, go all in on the multiverse. Just tell me how that affects this film that we're now 2-3 years departed from, and make me care about it more.
Well, what they've done an amazing job of both in Endgame and this show is adding credibility to the Dark World, which we hadn't thought possible until this point. So,
right,
that's cool.
And I'm with you. I think we revisit this conversation in 5 years and see what they have tied up. Basically, I just think it's too early to tell, and because everything got delayed.
You're assuming I can stand Matt slandering Endgame for 5 years. We'll see how it goes.
I'm setting a date. We'll do this.
Okay, speaking of dates, I want to bring this up because bias aside, the one and only
616.
Yeah, thank you. My great manager, Mr. Coy Andrew, I of course follow him on Instagram, pointed out that on June 16th, 616, the multiverse was blown open. And 616, I believe,
it's Marvel's main universe.
It's Marvel's prime universe. Yeah. Which also, when the reel ended on Loki's highlight reel last episode, at the very end it said Loki Earth 616,
which confuses me because the MCU timeline is Earth 19999 something like that. Like it's its own designation.
As far as we know, because that's what Mysterio said.
Right, and Mysterio
actuality, yeah,
that's
exactly.
True.
He was full of shit, and at the end of the day, it could be 616, and we just don't.
That's where.
Well, going back to Thor: Dark World real quick,
Mm-hmm.
Eric brought up 616 on the chalk, brought up Earth 616 on the chalkboard.
Yep, it was
all those years ago.
See, and that's where it throws me off though, because so the comic book main line is 616. Tons of things that's happening in the MCU have nothing to do or relate in any sort of way whatsoever with that storyline. So why would they just for posterity reasons? Because like it's literally they're different continuities, they're different storylines, there's different characters.
I'm going to say something that people
it should be its own
might not
Earth.
be a popular opinion. My thought is rarely, but I think on occasion, Marvel might have the audacity to just throw stuff in that's just an Easter egg. Remember when everyone's like, "Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Robin"? No, it was a wink.
He was Robin.
A wink. Yep.
I mean, technically, and people can theorize all they want about Stan Lee's roles in the movies and stuff. Howard the Duck. There's stuff in there that's not always going to lean.
Don't say that name, Jesse.
I know. I got some bad stuff coming for me. It's not always going to lead to something. It's not always got a lot of credibility to it. And a lot of times, because we're fans, we want to critique and nitpick Marvel storytelling. But really, what they've done is unprecedented. And there's nobody that comes close that's anywhere near like as neat of a franchise storyteller.
I'll push back on that. There's one man who's come close, and he's your teammate.
The Kevin Smith universe?
Yes, sir. The View universe.
I mean, just putting Johnny Depp in a couple of your movies, I don't know how well that ties everything together.
But they weren't VSQ. They weren't the VSQ movies. Those are VSQ adjacent.
Okay, so you're talking about the Clerks and stuff like that.
Yes, that's the VSQ universe.
Okay. I was just talking. You look at. You can find conflicts in Star Wars. You can find conflicts in mini conflicts in like James Bond stuff.
Yeah, especially.
There's franchises that deal with singular characters that are not as neat as Marvel. Marvel's not perfect, but it's one of the best things we got. Anyways, tying back into the show here. What did you guys think about a new Loki Power that we've seen, which is in the beginning when we get to the Renaissance Fair? We see her be able to kind of Scarlet Witch-like do like mind manipulation or like transfer consciousness into, but it looks like it's not like her body drops, right? So I think she is doing mind manipulation. Some people were saying she was doing soul transferring, but then I was like, well, then what would happen to her body if she was doing that? So I think it is kind of more manipulation.
It might be a combination of the two.
It could be. It very well could be. She's definitely inflicting her will upon other people.
So Loki calls her out on it though. He specifically says, "Oh, enchantment,
enchanting."
Goes,
yeah,
enchanting. Goes, not what I would have done.
Yeah, lazy. I think he's
but lazy. Yeah, exactly. Cowardice or something like that.
Yeah,
cowardly.
I think he says both.
And which ties it back to what I was saying earlier because I was watching another show, the Geek Buddies, and in a storyline somewhere, Loki essentially creates an enchantress.
Yeah.
Who has this power, I guess.
Yeah, so it's the storyline where he creates Sylvie. It's after I believe it's Ragnarok when Asgard gets like formed again over Oklahoma. And he creates Sylvie, and that she takes on the moniker of Enchantress, and that I believe that is one of her skill sets, which makes sense.
Funny, because what was this character's name in the credits?
Sylvie. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that could very well. So it's not necessarily Lady Loki. This person.
Well,
and that could be, and that's why she's like, "Don't call me Loki."
They might be doing like a whole like time, and they've done this before. They're taking multiple characters together. Like that's kind of what they did with Aldrich Killian was not Aldrich Killian proper. There's been a few different times where they've just kind of like done an amalgamation of what was that character's name in Iron Man 3 that had the Extremis virus?
The soldier guy.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name on the top of my head.
He was altered from the comics and kind of like a couple things put together too. So it's not unheard of for Marvel to do this.
One thing about Sylvie though is I actually went back. The reason I watched the show right before I came back in on here is because I saw something on the internet and I had to actually see it for myself. when he's going through all the paperwork about random things, he looks at a document and it says Sylvie Lafay daughter in the documents, which would be, I mean, like a sister or a female version of him. And she just chose to go by the name Sylvie instead of Loki because Loki is kind of sort of not a name I would pick if I was a girl. And you know what I mean? So like
definitely Lokiette. You know?
Mm-hmm. So it could be she is a Lady Loki, and they just combined her with Sylvie, and she's now like you said, an amalgamation of multiple characters.
I really hope that she's the beginning, because whenever we get this intro, I get really excited. We see like the 100 different like Loki symbols and stuff. I want a kid Loki. I want to see Tom Hiddleston play against Tom Hiddleston. I know we got that in WandaVision already. I'm waiting for the Tom Hiddleston interview where he's like, "Oh yeah, we got a Luke Skywalker level cameo."
Yeah.
I want to see the guy who plays was it number 5 from the Umbrella Academy, the teenager.
Oh my god, yes.
They would play perfectly off each other if he can do the accent, which I don't think he's actually American too, so that might work.
You might be right.
But
yeah,
that would be a perfect teenage Loki.
Absolutely.
You're not wrong, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Because like when he's wandering around in Umbrella Academy, he's got that snark. He is Loki.
Absolutely. That'd be hilarious.
Anyway, I want to open it up like to the chat really quick. Just throw out some of your favorite moments of this episode. Because like I said, we don't have structure here. We're just talking about whatever, theorizing and stuff, getting crazy. I'm trying to think. I think what is happening there?
I was gonna say I love the hair.
That's a look.
I just like
do it again. Go back.
Wow,
this is my alfalfa. It's just like
here. Oh wow,
nailed it.
No, I'm gonna make you proud though, Jess. My godson's moving back in town, and he kind of fell off the MCU after Endgame. Like he saw Endgame in theaters, and then money got tight. Money got tight for me because what I was doing is when he lived in town, I would take him to see the big movie opening night with me. Mm-hmm. And my cousin's a single mother, so money got tight for me, money got tight for them. So he didn't see Far From Home, or actually Far From Home was the last thing we got up until recently. So
not wrong, other than like WandaVision, like the phase
right.
4.
So he hasn't seen, even though I pay for the Disney Plus, he hasn't seen WandaVision yet. He hasn't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he hasn't started Loki. So now that they're moving back, he's been like video chatting me every day, and I told him, I'm like, all right, bud, we'll sit down and watch all this with you. And I'm really excited for him to get to Loki because he's like, I hate Loki. I know that breaks Kelsey's heart. He's a 6-year-old boy. He's a 6-year-old boy.
Oh yeah, hop into a crash course.
There's no gray area for children. It's just like, oh, that's bad guy. I don't like him.
It's just like he's annoying. That's straight up what he said to me.
Oh wow.
I was like, buddy, we're gonna have to rewatch these real quick.
I want to sit down and do a kids review with my kids and watch all the Marvel movies and have them do like kid reviews. That's something I want to do.
Call it the low kids review. So Brandon, he says, hot take, timekeepers don't exist anymore. The sacred timeline's being monitored by Kang. I'm going to call that not a hot take, because that's exactly what I think is happening.
Yep.
Hot take. Brandon watched this episode 20 minutes ago where we said the exact same thing. He might have hopped back. He might have hopped off.
Now listen, I am not. I refuse to get as into these theories as I did with Mephisto. I've been burned.
Yes, everything was Mephisto.
I'm just gonna say, like, I will say what I think or what it feels like, and like throw out theories. But I'm not gonna be like $20, $50. Like, this is what's gonna happen. This is I know. I'm done. I'm done predicting. Falcon and Winter Soldier. The only thing, man, that was as far as conjecture went. It was one of my few disappointments with the show. Is WandaVision? We were all over the place, like Mephisto, we had theories and stuff like that. And then the only thing we had to theorize in Falcon and Winter Soldier was who's the power broker. And
that's all you need to theorize. You did
in episode 3. Yeah. We're like, it's Sharon. Yeah. And then we're waiting to be surprised, and then it was Sharon. We're like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no. But see, that's also different in genre because those shows, all these shows are
against it. I'm not holding it against it.
Look at it this way. Loki is a supernatural procedural. That's what Loki is. It's supernatural procedural.
And then soon we're gonna get a regular procedural with like She-Hulk. I'm really excited for all these like Marvel TV shows.
Well, a comedy procedural, as I said, it's gonna be a comedic procedural.
I thought it was gonna go that way. I don't think it's going that way though.
No, She-Hulk. We're talking about She-Hulk.
No. Loki. I thought it was going to be like, hey, let's go fix this time variant. Let's go fix this timeline. I thought it was going to do that, but now this episode, they threw everything. It's not, Loki's now off in the wind chasing after Sylvie.
It can still be a procedural in that part. Because if you look at it this way, there are different types of procedurals. There is stuff where the cops are chasing after the bad guy. There is stuff like Law and Order, which is more so what this episode was like. So you could encompass all the different types of procedurals in this show alone.
I just see those as like you start it with an issue, you do investigation, you wrap it up at the end. I just don't see it going that way. That's how I saw it, though.
But here's the thing: these are also realistically just 6-hour movies.
Yeah, for sure. This is the end of the first act.
Yeah,
this episode.
So, but the point I'm about to make is this can be you start investigating. This next part is that hunt, and then the last 2 episodes is a close-up. That could be what this ends up being.
You mean the whole show?
Yes, the whole show itself
is an episode. That's a movie.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's a 6-hour procedural is the point.
Okay, I got you. I understand. I thought you meant each episode, which is what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like, hey, I'm working with the TVA. Let's go fix this.
I meant the show overall overarching story. It's just one large supernatural procedure.
Yeah, if this was spread out into like 10 or 12 episodes or something, then it would have been probably more so they would have done a couple missions before he went off and chased after her. But I got you.
What I'm excited for is I think by the end of next episode, we will have seen pretty much every scene from the main trailers. Because I think it seems like it might be Vormir, but I don't know, whatever this planet is that has all like the purple lighting and stuff, I think we're going to get that in the next episode. And we see hello, buddy. We see in
so you think we get President Loki next episode, huh?
Okay, well, that's fine. I forgot about that. No, I think the majority of stuff that we haven't seen yet, we will see in the next episode. And we see in the trailer meteorite coming for the purpley planet. And we also see what appears to be Lady Loki and Loki sitting on a rock together. Not Natasha, once again, for the 100th time. And so I think we're going to see that. And then once we get to episode 4, 5, 6, it's all going to be...
surprise.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, to go back to what Lauren said, because yes, all of the dates we saw were important destinations. So that's probably where she jumped at the end of the show, was to Vormir, if your theory is correct. And so Loki chasing after her.
It's a theory. It's a purple lighted planet, and Vormir's the only thing I can think of. It could be freaking anything.
I mean, as far as it being in the next episode, she could have jumped there to avoid, to be hidden essentially in an apocalypse, because that is where one of the apocalypses happened. So then they'll have a monologue off where they explain some more stuff, whatever her motivations are, and essentially get Loki on her side is what I'm guessing is going to happen. I think he's going to see. I think Loki's always in it for himself. He's never he's good, he's bad, whatever, or herself, their self. And so they're not going to. Here. Yeah, they're always going to do whatever is going to help them get to their ends in a sense. So we'll see what, oh yeah, I'm on your side. Totally. And then, stab in the back later on.
You know what's one of the most fun things about Loki? Like, I'm sorry for your 6-year-old. You say it's your nephew? No. Godson. That's right. Is that maybe they don't find it as fun as I do, but it's funny that I find myself falling for Loki's schemes almost as often as the characters in the show or movie do, because I love Loki, and whenever he's like talking, okay, I didn't fall for the Renaissance thing. I knew he was just blowing smoke up everyone's ass there, but when he's talking to other Loki and saying like, I'm looking for a lieutenant, blah blah, I'm like, I never know when you're lying, because like I don't know, like all of that sounds like possible. Like that is something you would do, but also you could not do that, and that would be just as likely. So it's something that I really enjoy about Loki. He's predictably unpredictable. You know, you're like, he might do the right thing, but he very well might not, because he's done both and he's gone back and forth. And I don't know if that keeps the character as interesting as it just does like fun. I enjoy a character like Captain America. You know a choice he's going to make.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's not a detriment to the character. But Loki, once we got past Dark World, you never know. After Ragnarok and Infinity War.
Well, when here's what I'll say. He's my godson's 6 years old, so he doesn't know shit. Watch. We'll sit down and watch these, and he'll feel completely different about Loki afterwards. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's those character things that I'm like, you know.
Secondly,
I'm not going to shit on your godson.
Secondly, Marvel note. Jesse, did you order the Marvel Stealth Cap Shield?
No. I just got, Classique.
I got Classique and Falcon. I just had to ask.
Very cool. When they got to Roxart, what was it called?
Roxart.
Roxart. Yeah.
I was like, is that a Roxxon?
It's definitely a Roxxon reference for sure, because it was set in the year
2049, 2050, something like that.
20. Okay, so about 30 years from now.
So that was like the oldest school vacuum I've ever seen. So what is this?
That was a critique I had. Is I looked at all the shelves, I'm like, they didn't even try to make this look like it's not. Now.
My only
it looked to me like a Goodwill, like the stuff that was on the shelves. Like if you walked into a good thrift store right now,
why does this place look half empty? I get that there's an apocalypse.
It looks like a Sears in 2050.
Yeah,
right.
I sometimes I want to justify something, and then my justification falls apart, because I was like, this seems like a podunk town a little bit. Like isn't it? It was
we're in Alabama. Sorry,
it's Alabama. So Jake promises he won't be there, so we're good. He promises he's not going to be in Alabama in 2050.
I was like, this is in bumfuck Alabama. But then I believe Randy, or whatever his name is, comes up. He's got an electronic name tag. I was like, okay, you can afford electronic name tags, but you got a vacuum from 1970. So
it was in their classic section. Vintage. What I was getting at with going back to what you said, Jesse, about you don't know when to believe Loki, when he is talking to Mobius and Hunter, what's her name? I can't remember.
Talking about the
Hunter B-15, yes. Yeah. And he was saying, he goes, "No, you can trust me. I want to earn your trust." Did you believe him then? Because it sounded genuine. Like he's like, "No, like I'll go with her. I'll earn their trust."
I mean, he wants to earn their trust because it makes his job easier, but he doesn't legitimately want to be worthy of the trust. If that
it helps him step up the ladder a bit.
Loki, I think, almost never speaks full lie or full truths. I think everything that comes out of his mouth is either half truth or a half lie, because everything's got depths. Like when he was monologuing about all that shit so that he could try to stall or whatever, part of that felt like he was basing it off of a previous experience or something he actually did here, but then he was manipulating it and using it in such a way that benefited him. And then the trust thing, he does need to earn the trust. Otherwise, he's not going to get anywhere that he needs to get. So it is like, yeah, he does want to earn their trust. Does he want to earn it in a really genuine way? Maybe not. So like I said, it's all like kind of, it's a balance.
He wants to earn their trust for reasons, so he can get a little more access.
Agendas. Loki is agenda personified.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Jesse, you want to know what should help you feel better? We're now on the same playing field. Look at it that way.
Matt, are you okay? You feel like you're sinking. You're getting lower.
Well, right now his audio and video is not syncing.
Yeah.
Turned into a transformer.
Dude, it's funny. I think as much as he loves writing questions, Matt, as much as Matt loves writing questions, as much as I've seen his internet, he really needs to audition for the Quirky Mercs, I think.
Audition? I thought you just handed him a name tag. Internet lags out.
What you guys don't know is there's actually no application process for the Quirky Mercs. I was just like, "Yo, Koi, I like Saga," and he's like,
Yeah, that's your win.
Yeah.
Aga, keyword.
Let's do a Skype
Saga.
call.
Fuck you, Jesse.
You're in.
Dude,
You're
I
in.
gotta be honest. I had like 4 mock matches the other night, and it was on Skype, and the whole time was painful. I was like, why is this so much worse than everything else? I was like, why can't we do a StreamYard? He said, well, not everyone has StreamYard. How? Don't we
It's
do
an
this on?
it's a web page.
As long as one person,
We
as long as one
StreamYard from
person
my
has
phone
it.
while I was driving. I was at work.
Right.
And then I was like, what about Zoom? And it's like, well, not everyone has Zoom. I was like, what? Who? I was like, I am not the Brendan. How is Brendan Meyer only on Skype? Anyways, so
as long as one person has StreamYard, we all have StreamYard.
Yes, exactly.
anyways, it's just it's a real good time. I gotta be honest, guys. I don't know if this is supposed to be blurred out, but this is delicious. This like truly fruit punch.
I
bought
was at the store an hour ago. I bought a 12-pack. Yes,
I got the 12-pack a couple days ago. I've had the tropical and the fruit punch.
Wait, Jesse's
punch is my
drinking?
favorite.
Hold on. What? Stop the presses.
Matt, I have a wedding coming up. That's all. That's the tea. And
So,
also,
you had a wedding coming up when we were doing that celebration stream, and we had to fight.
yeah, but I was a month farther away.
Hey, we had to fight you just to have the one. The one.
Listen here. I could not be more grateful and excited. There's so much. Baby girl knows what I'm referring to. It has nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Weddings are
There's a lot
stressful.
of variables. There's a lot of variables.
Don't wait until the night before to finish making all of your programs and do it yourself and stay up till 4 a.m. when you have to be up at 6:30.
That didn't happen, Sean.
That's
Did
what
that happen? Oh, okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
My wife made her own cake. I was making the programs. We were chopping things with papers. We had
I do not want
100 people, and
How bad you
60
cut
showed
yourself?
up. And we're like,
How about
So-
you cut yourself?
Why don't we get can we get another fundraising stream so that I can hire Andrew DiMolanta to take pictures for my wedding? Because I'm pretty jealous of that. I want the belt at my wedding.
He's so good. He did such a good job.
The
Yeah,
Deacon's
but-
wedding looked absolutely fantastic.
Okay,
Going off on a whole tangent.
I just want to real quick
Go
say
ahead.
something though. The funniest thing
welcome
about
to
that wedding
reviews.
is Andrew walking
Was-
around and all us schmodown people screaming and like fanning girly got off him, and everyone else at the wedding was super confused why we're like freaking out over the guy getting picked.
Why do you guys love the photographers so
Right?
much?
I really thought that you were going to say Justin the Juice's dancing because I
Oh,
heard
that
that
too.
was the highlight.
There was definitely a dance off between Juice and Alex. And yeah.
Have you guys seen how wild, like getting on track for a second, as rare as that may be, did you guys see how wild the rumor mill has been regarding the like Franklin D. Roosevelt pin that we saw?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I've heard 100 different things. I'm like, guys, maybe it means something, but all of this really specific things that you're narrowing it down to, chill.
Franklin R. Get it? Franklin.
And people are like, there's an R, there's Franklin Richards, Psylord. We're getting Fantastic Four right now. I'm just like, and this is my favorite one that I've heard though, and I'm not gonna try to lend any credibility to it because like all of them I think are kind of bogus. But if you look up the high school, it's kind of a popular name for a high school, but the most prominent one is based out of Brooklyn. And everyone's like, you know who else is from Brooklyn? Miles Morales. We have a Spider-Verse-ish type movie coming up. Into the Spider-Verse is very popular. Maybe it's a light hint that this breaking open the multiverse will lead to Miles meeting Peter, something along those lines. I'm like, that's fine. I like that. But I'm not going to say that that's what's happening, you know.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite theory.
As we already mentioned with the wild speculation of WandaVision, I'm not putting credence into any rumors or theories or whatever. Just kind
Not even
of
that good of a band.
take it, just take it as it comes. See what, because then you're just setting yourself up for disappointment if you don't,
Right.
if the movie doesn't happen as you wrote it in your head. Then you're like, oh man, da, da, da. You know,
Speculate responsibly.
speculate responsibly. Exactly.
Us?
When the first
No.
Westworld show came out, I think Buck's right. When the first Westworld show came out,
I'm just going to leave this up until there's a new comment.
on episode 3, someone threw out that there's multiple timelines, and I'm like, that's crazy, but it stuck in my head, and then so by the time it actually got confirmed, I was like, oh well, that kind of because I heard it 7 weeks ago, and so it just ruined that, because that would have been a huge revelation, but someone had already said it on a show, on an after show I watched. So
if Falcon and Winter Soldier has taught me anything, I'm so much more happier being wrong.
Same.
Because I felt better about being so freaking sure that Mephisto was going to be in WandaVision and then not being than I did about Sharon being Power Broker. I was like, well, that sucks, because that was like written on the walls.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the show treated it like it was going to be a surprise. And I was like, it's not at all. And so like this show, like I'm saying shit, if Kang's not in it, if the timekeepers are real, if like everything I say, if it's the complete opposite, great. Like I'm thoroughly entertained, as long as they don't do anything stupid. And just because it's not what I thought does not mean it's stupid. I'm here for the ride, and without this sounding the wrong way, any ride with Tom Hiddleston's a good time.
Yes.
With Hiddlebay.
With Hiddlebay.
Any
as
ride with
Chris
Hiddlebay?
brought up for Chris's sake, which I'm so glad I listened to it for Chris's sake, just to plug Is that on your channel now, Matt?
No, so that was a special episode that was kind of a teaser for something that is to come on the channel, which people can find out about on June 26th when we do our 250th special. Which, Jesse, you and I have a busy night that night, because towards the end of it, we're going to be going between Mario Party and that stream.
You're on Mario Party too?
I forgot I committed to it months ago. I'm like, what?
I did too.
Yeah, Chris texted me yesterday. He was like, hey, do you have a controller? Hook up to your computer. I was like, yeah.
So Chris Clark of Pajunkin fame messaged me. He's like, you still down for Mario Party? I was like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't forget, but I told you yes. So
like, literally, he tweeted something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I committed to that. I'm like, my channel's celebrating 250 that night, and I'm like, Jesse's supposed to come on at some point, and Join's supposed to come on at some point, and we're on the same round of Mario Party, so that's just great.
Oh, we're all. I didn't even look at the rounds. But.
So it's actually on that. So you are playing as.
Is that what that meant with the pictures next to us? I didn't know what meant what.
Yeah, so
he just asked me if I wanted to play. I was like, I'll play Mario Party. That's fine.
It's me, Jeff, and Dwayne as Mario.
I'm Waluigi.
You and the Aussies as Toad.
Wait, is that Taylor and Jacob?
Yep.
Oh, fuck fun. Oh, by the way, I'm going to announce this now. I'm going to make it official because it has not been announced on video. I think we have the date locked down, but just in case we don't, I'm going to leave it in the air. Me and Taylor Robinson, I believe on her channel, are going to do a watch along for the first live action Scooby-Doo movie, because that movie is fucking.
You need to invite Chris Anthony Lopez for that. He's the biggest Scooby-Doo fan you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Hal
is the biggest Scoop fan.
We offered it up to Abby Friel, but I think she just did one with Janine, so whatever, maybe. But there's going to be at least a couple of us.
Talk to Taylor. You have to get Cal on that. Scooby-Doo is Cal's. Yeah. But no. And then Sean is playing as
with Mr. Handsome Cheese himself.
Sean, can I switch you slots? Because
he's in our slot. He's in our slot. He's just on. He's on the Waluigi team. You're on the Toad team.
Anyways, so is there any final
he has
thoughts?
2 different times. Okay, I see. 6 p.m. and 11 p.m.
These are the Mario Party timelines.
Times.
Is there any final thoughts that we have about the episode? Because I feel like we did kind of dip and duck around. We threw our theories and stuff. That's kind of what this is. It's a water cooler talk. This is the equivalent of what would happen if you came into work and you were just hanging out with your
you were drunk still.
Listen. And you just, because like when you talk to your friends, you do not go scene by scene. You just go this, that, and that's kind of what I wanted this to be. Because I've watched a couple shows. Some of them are great, but sometimes when people are just going like scene by scene, I'm not going to name shows, but I'm just like, guys, I watched it. I know how this goes. Like, let's. I want to hear your thoughts. I don't want to hear you describing the scenes. Like, it doesn't do as much. So hopefully this is something unique that people like. I'm going to throw out really quick. If you haven't liked the video already, can you please just pop out of the chat, like the video.
Can I throw something out real quick?
Wait. Oh God. Just what Lauren wanted to see.
What am I looking
She
at?
has seen it. She has seen it. She has seen that video. Listen, this is PJ Campbell's fault. PJ said because Chris Clark is an icon, and he says the most ridiculous, incredible things. And PJ said that talking to Chris is like touching hands with God. And within 5 minutes, I had that picture in the chat, and I think we decided that we want to make a shirt out of it.
And for those people who don't think Chris Clark says just hilarious and out there things, even on accident, go watch the John Williams special where he talks about and we're doing the John Williams Survivor Island, and he says something along the lines, well, the winner gets a slave, and I'm the only black person, and we're just all like we all just like
anything that he says, like no pun intended, that's off color, I swear is not intentional. He's the sweetest guy I've ever met. He's so nice.
And then we're like, Chris, and he's like, oh no, I didn't mean to say that.
Okay, I'm gonna out him on one thing because I feel like obviously looking at the chat that he's not on here. We were talking for some reason about female anatomy. I don't know why, but the topic of the word fallopian came up, and he said that it was a fancy word for blowjob. I was like, bro, do you mean fellatio? He's like, oh shit. I love this man with all of my heart. And also, my beautiful, wonderful shark jumpers imagery that I have was all done by Chris Clark. So big shout out to him. Anyways, guys, we haven't talked about Loki for about 15 minutes, so I think we're wrapping it up here because I think the four of us could probably go on talking about Schmodown, Chris Clark, Marvel, everything for however long. Anyways, it's been a great time. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us. Sean, Matt, I'm glad you come on here. Pushing it.
Tell them they could just be late.
That's fine. I was going to make a dumb comment, but I'm not going to make any more dumb comments. For today, where can the people find you? Start with Matt today.
You can find me over at Watt Real Entertainment. That's WAT, Real spelled with 2 E's like a film reel, Entertainment. We do our Schmodown show there. We do Really Scared. The guys actually had John Roca on tonight talking about 1986's The Fly, directed by David Cronenberg. And then no Real Talk this week because it's Father's Day. Wrestle Reel tomorrow, Saber Reel Saturday, and then we do all that fun stuff again starting on Monday. So yeah, find me over there and at Twitter at WattMovies_Matt. And remember, people, it's a hashtag WattBoySummer. So yeah.
All right, and Kelsey, where can the people find you outside of talking Loki?
Not much. All right, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on various channels talking about Loki. I'm not going to list them all anywhere, but on Sunday, I'm going to be on Take 3 Productions doing Rank 'em on Tom Hiddleston's best acting performances. So you'll get to see what my opinions are on that. That'll be fun. And then on Call to Action Podcast, I'll be talking Schmodown and all cool things with Schmodown. This season's been insane. We have so much content to go through, and it's been a ball this season. So check out Call to Action if you like Schmodown.
Is that the podcast after show award of the year?
Yes, it is.
Would you say that, speaking of the Schmodown, would you think that maybe the Jackal should get another match?
I do think the Jackal should get another match. We'd like to talk about that.
Decently against the number 2 overall draft pick. After getting robbed 2 points, it could have been a pretty close match, possibly. But Matt, do you want me to pull up what you got here?
Oh, it's that Chris Clark moment. If you want to pull it up.
Oh no. Okay, hang on. We're gonna end on that. We're gonna end on that. Sean, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. Sorry, coughing. At Sean Wingblade, all one word.
Are you coughing or wheezing?
Wheezing. I'm not a Pokemon. Sean, spell it correctly, Sean, Sean Wingblade, or down here watching with Wingblade on YouTube and Twitch. Haven't posted many videos on the YouTubes other than some gameplay stuff. I'll record it. Perfect. Re-uploaded in like 30-minute segments on some episodes of Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's a fun game. It's very similar to like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Assassin's Creed. It's really fun to play. And I'd like to remind everyone Pineapple. Pineapple belongs on pizza.
Yes, it
Or
does.
Throw that out there.
It also belongs up Hitler's ass in Little Nicky.
Oh,
We don't like to talk about that film, Jesse.
What? Yes. Okay.
Pineapples.
All right, guys. Well, you can find me as per usual here on my channel, the Flick and Reel Fancast, and we are doing 2 to 3 shows a week, depending on the week. So today is Thursday. Saturday,
Buck is booing your channel.
no.
Actually, I think he just doesn't
Saturday,
like pineapples.
typically, what we do is news and views, which is just an overview of all the movie, TV, nerd, geekdom, whatever stuff that we want to talk about. This has been a slow news week, but instead of canceling the show like I thought about doing, oh yeah, you changed the colors there. That's what
I was going to click on news and views.
Oh, yeah, that was last week. That was a lot of fun.
I was trying to
Or
help.
a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I lose track of things. Get out of
That
here.
was last week.
But what I was going to say is we have, oh my gosh, I've lost track now. I think Jeff's going to be on the show, Scott, my typical co-host, and I think Chris Anthony Lopez. And we're just going to do an Ask Us Anything podcast for like an hour or so. Talk about whatever. Maybe we'll talk about some of the news this week. Maybe we'll do some trivia. It's just going to be a hangout. Come and hang out with us for an hour because that's what we're going to do. And then every other Saturday, so not this Saturday, but next at 10:30 a.m., we do Shark Jumpers.
Shark
It's-
jumper. Ooh-ah.
Sean has been a part of that show. Matt and Kelsey, to be announced. We'll have you on the show at some point. I know that it's hard to line up schedules sometimes, but we'll
Work's
get you
a
on there.
bitch.
Expect some Spielberg talk on the next episode with the guest that I have. Again, Chris Anthony Lopez looking to show up on that show. So anyways, outside
Don't
of
you
that,
dare besmirch Hook. That's
Hell
the
no.
best movie.
especially usually you jump the shark with a franchise or like a TV show or something like that. We don't do a lot of individual movies except for when we do Nicolas Cage.
You don't jump the shark with Indy 4 either.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going to promise you it's not on there, but it's not me. So you can also find me on Twitter at Jesse Swift. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for hanging on for our incoherent rambling and just hangout talk. Had a great time. One more time to burn your eyeballs. Here's the
Wait. we got to hear Chris.
Oh, that's
Chris
right. We got to
Clark.
do this is the Chris Clark stream. So we're gonna bring this up, and we're all gonna get real hush hush so we can enjoy. You did share audio, right?
Yes.
Okay. And 3, 2. That's weird to do. 1.
Panelist gets to nominate one movie. It'll go into that nomination thing right over there. Every panelist gets one kill and one save. As you see,
One slave? What?
I was about to say, am I on the wrong show? Am I being used?
No.
Oh, no. Well, have a good night, everyone. Thanks so much for having
My man, like, do you think he's got like bad breath for how often he has to put his foot in his mouth?
But it's still,
Chris, love you. Love you
each panelist
so
gets
much.
one kill and one slave. I mean, AJ's like, I got here just.
I will leave us with this great quote from the show brought to us by Lauren. Loki yelling, "Nothing matters" was a whole mood. Nothing matters, everybody. So until next time, we've been the Flick and Reel Fancast, here to talk to you about Loki, movies and shows, jumping the shark, and news and views and all that good stuff. Until next time, keep it real and goodbye.